Welcome to our training on teamwork. This training is a part of the 50-hour Florida required case management training series. This particular training involves watching this video. After completion of the video, you are required to complete the attached quiz with a passing score of at least 70% in order to successfully complete the lesson. Additionally, a copy of this PowerPoint slide is attached to this lesson in the lesson media section of the lesson for your convenience. In our role as case managers, there are three types of teams in which we are likely to be involved. The first is as a leader of the service planning team for each person that we serve. This team should be composed of the person we are serving, anyone else that the person served wishes to be involved, and other providers who are serving this individual. This team is likely to be fairly stable throughout the duration of services, but there may be times when certain members are unable to attend the service planning meetings. The second type of team is our colleagues in our case management program. We will work very closely with the other people who work in our program, and it is critical that we develop a team relationship with these others. This team is also likely to be fairly stable over time, with membership changing only at times of staff transitions. The final team that we may be involved with is an agency task-dedicated team. This is a team that is formed to address a particular concern that our organization may be experiencing, and this team is likely to be composed of individuals from various programs in the organization. These teams are put together for a limited amount of time and usually have an identified task. These teams are very stable for the given task group, but another group that is put together for a different task is likely to have a very different membership. So in this type of group, it is important to be able to quickly form a team relationship with individuals that we may not know very well. There are 5 basic reasons that teamwork is important and why in our role as a case manager it is critically important to us. The first reason is that teamwork motivates unity among the team members. A teamwork environment promotes an atmosphere that fosters friendship and loyalty. These close-knit relationships motivate members of the group and align them to work harder, cooperate, and be supportive of one another. Individuals possess diverse talents, weaknesses, communication skills, strengths, and habits. Therefore, when a teamwork environment is not encouraged, this can pose many challenges toward achieving the overall goals and objectives for the group. Ultimately, this can lead to an unhealthy and inefficient working group. When teamwork is working, the whole team would be motivated and working toward the same goal in harmony. Next, teamwork offers differing perspectives and feedback. Good teamwork structures provide us with a diversity of thought, creativity, perspectives, opportunities, and problem-solving approaches. A proper team environment allows individuals to brainstorm collectively, which in turn increases their success to problem solve and arrive at solutions more efficiently and effectively. Effective teams also allow the initiative to innovate, in turn creating the opportunity to accomplish goals and objectives. Sharing differing opinions and experience strengthens accountability and can help make effective decisions faster than when they are done alone. Next, teamwork provides improved efficiency and productivity. When incorporating teamwork strategies, we become more efficient and productive. This is because it allows the workload to be shared reducing the pressure on individuals and ensure that tasks are completed within a set time frame. It also allows goals to be more attainable, enhances the optimization of performance, improves our job satisfaction, and increases work pace. Ultimately, when a group of individuals works together compared to one person working alone, they promote a more efficient work output and are able to complete tasks faster due to many minds intertwined on the same goals and objectives. Next, teamwork provides great learning opportunities. Working in a team enables us to learn from one another's perspectives and mistakes. We are able to avoid future errors, gain insight from differing perspectives, and learn new concepts from others. In addition, individuals can expand their skill sets, discover fresh ideas, and learn more effective approaches and solutions toward the task at hand. And finally, teamwork promotes workplace synergy. Mutual support, shared goals, cooperation, and encouragement provide team synergy. With this, team members are able to feel a greater sense of accomplishment, are collectively responsible for outcomes achieved, and feed individuals with the incentive to perform at higher levels. When team members are aware of their own responsibilities and roles, as well as the significance of their output being relied upon by the rest of the team, team members will be driven to share the same vision, values, and goals. The result creates a team based on fellowship, trust, support, respect, and cooperation. More often than not, effective teamwork is built on the following characteristics. The first is clear direction. Sometimes we're in such a hurry to complete the work of the team that we pull together groups of people without first deciding on the goals and desired outcomes. In his book, Team Renaissance: The Art, Science, and Politics of Great Teams, Richard Spoon explains that without a clear sense of what the team needs to accomplish and how a successful outcome will be defined, it's impossible to assemble the right group of people to get there. So decide on team goals and desired outcomes first. Use it for clear direction for the team that we select. Start at the end point. What is the outcome that we want and why? We then leave the team flexibility to develop the best way to get there. Second is open and honest communication. Communication is the close brother of chemistry. In any team, communication is crucial to building a sense of camaraderie between members. The manner of communication, how freely and frequently team members communicate, determines the effectiveness of the team. Put simply, the more freely we talk to our fellow team members, the more comfortable we are in sharing insights and ideas. The most important part of communication is listening. Listening is not just a way to find things out, it's also a sign of respect. So send the message that our conversation partner is valuable. Listen like we mean it. Demonstrate that we are listening. Paraphrase, restate, and react to what we hear. Ask for clarification. Get involved. Third, our team should support risk-taking and change. Good teams support appropriate risk-taking and experimentation for change. They look on first-time mistakes as opportunities for learning. Fourth, our group should be mutually accountable. Teams accept responsibility as individuals and as a team. They don't blame one another for team mistakes. No one should spend any time, useless time, in personal justifications. We should celebrate our successes together, recognize special performance, and contributions that each team member makes to the total work of the team. Fifth is common goals. A chief characteristic of any successful team is that members place the common goal above individual interests. While scaling individual targets is great for personal morale, teams succeed when they understand, appreciate, and work with a common purpose. Sixth, the team should encourage differences in opinions. Agreeing on a common goal is essential, but it shouldn't come at the cost of suppressing alternative ideas and opinions. Having divergent opinions within a team enhances team performance. A diverse team is its own competitive advantage. Diverse opinions stir imagination and new ideas. Imagination and new ideas stir creativity. Unless the status quo is threatened and questioned, we won't find those crucial out-of-the-box ideas. Seventh is collaboration. Close collaboration is a trait shared by every successful team, whether it be the Apple leadership team, or Lennon-McCartney of Beatles fame, or Jordan Pippen of the Chicago Bulls fame. The idea is simple enough. The more we collaborate and the more we communicate, the more we create. And finally, the team should build trust. Team members who cannot trust one another or who don't believe in the process and goals of the team seldom find success. Effective teams focus on solving problems. Trust is an adjunct of effective communication. There can be trust between team members only if they are allowed to air their views freely. When you are part of a great team, going to work in the morning feels joyous and exciting. There is a special feeling when your teammates are working toward the same goal as you. You're able to share in the camaraderie of the journey as well as the achievements. Through synergy, a good team is able to create an end result far outweighing what each individual could produce themselves. We're going to finish this training by discussing a number of characteristics of a good team member. The challenge here is to identify which of these are our strengths and which we may need a little more work on. The first of those is self-awareness. In order to be a great team player, it's crucial to have an unbiased awareness of what you're good at and what you suck at. As a legendary and entrepreneur and YouTube star Gary Vaynerchuk says, self-awareness is being able to accept your weaknesses while focusing all of your attention on your strengths. In the modern era, we're conditioned into improving our weaknesses rather than doubling down on our strengths. When you follow this path, it's hard to rise above mediocrity. However, when you're brutally honest about your weaknesses, you can finally accept them and hone other skills that will make you extremely valuable. Teams benefit when individual members are fully aware of their strengths and weaknesses, but it's especially important that leaders understand the key attributes of the individuals with whom they're working. Number 2 is that we should be committed to mastery. If we're content to let our skills stagnate, then we will never fulfill our potential as a team member. This is particularly crucial in the information age, where certain skill sets are becoming obsolete overnight. As Robert Greene, the author of Mastery, states, the time that leads to mastery is dependent on the intensity of our focus. Great team members make time in their weekly schedule for refining their talents and adding new tricks to their repertoire. When every member of the team is committed to personal growth, this not only creates an awesome working atmosphere, but it constantly brings new information into the organization, which assists in creative problem solving. Number 3, we should be intrinsically motivated. Most employees are heavily motivated by financial gain. That isn't good or bad. It's just an economic reality. There's nothing wrong with doing a job for money. But if we're doing it only for money, then we'll never be a great team member. Anyone who has achieved a level of mastery at a skill appreciates the daily ritual of practice. This intrinsic motivation should fire us up to turn up day in, day out, irrespective of the praise we receive. It's very difficult to be enthusiastic about something when extrinsic motivation like money, fame, and praise are all that we have. If we're not intrinsically motivated to perform the daily task, we're either in an environment where our talents are not being maximized, or we're in the wrong vocation. In both cases, we need to make a change immediately. The 4th characteristic is reliability. While most employers prioritize personality traits over skills to a preposterous extent, reliability is something that every employee should work toward. Even if a person has a phenomenal skill set, if they're wishy-washy and don't follow through on their promises, then they're not a good team player. Although reliability is considered to be a fixed trait, environmental factors also impact the reliability of employees. For instance, if a team member strives to do their best, but their boss gives them no praise and constantly takes credit for the work, this individual will certainly become less reliable. If a person's working environment reinforces that reliability is not rewarded, then it's much more difficult to behave reliably, even if we're reliable in every other area of our life. And number 5, a team member should be honest about their achievements as well as their shortcomings. Everyone makes mistakes from time to time, but when people try to shift the blame and weave false narratives, disasters can occur. Entrepreneur and author James Altucher once said, "Honesty is the fastest way to prevent a mistake from turning into a failure." Bad news can be difficult to handle, but the sooner we embrace the truth, the faster we can innovate and come to a solution. Being honest doesn't mean being brazen. We can deliver constructive criticism tactfully without hurting anyone's feelings. When we're dealing with an honest person, we know where we stand with them. We don't have to worry about them spinning narratives in order to achieve a certain agenda. They just say it as it is. When rapport is based on authenticity rather than falsehood, it creates deeper relationships. When team members relate to one another better, they also produce greater results. The next characteristic is being positive. Being positive doesn't mean behaving like Barney the dinosaur, singing gleeful songs to our colleagues and exchanging hugs every day. Positivity isn't about how smiley and talkative we are. It's a mindset. We can be positive in a low-key manner and still have a wonderful impact on our teammates. When we're conscious about staying positive, we will see failure as feedback rather than a disaster. Positivity means finding a solution to a problem rather than passing the blame and dwelling on things we can't control. Research shows that positive employees are 12% more productive. Additionally, when we're happy, we make better decisions, feel healthier, and make our colleagues happier and more productive as well. The next characteristic is having empathy. Have you ever heard the old adage, treat people how they want to be treated? This is horrible advice. Here's a much better tip. Treat people how you want to be treated. Empathy is about being aware of how other people feel. If we're unable to put ourselves in someone else's shoes and see things from their point, people are not going to enjoy working with us. Fortunately, empathy isn't a fixed attribute. It's something that we can improve. Learning how to listen to our colleagues and assess their mood based on their subcommunications will make us a much better team player. If one of your coworkers has donned headphones and is exhibiting closed body behavior, they're probably doing some serious work, and it's better not to disturb them, even if chocolates are being passed around the office and you don't want the other to miss out. When you respect others' boundaries and embrace their individuality, even if you don't always agree with them, people will enjoy working with you. The next characteristic is being a good communicator. It is impossible to work together as a team if individual members don't fully understand one another. Communication skills are imperative for anyone working in a team environment. Arguably, the most important communication skill is knowing how to give tactful, constructive criticism. While you might be voicing a criticism for the purpose of driving the team forward and solving a problem, if we're not careful, the person on the receiving end may view it as a personal attack. By showing appreciation for what the other did well, and then explaining what they could have done better, it creates a positive framework for criticism that will lead to a much more positive outcome. Being a good communicator also means knowing when to stay silent. Oftentimes, if we don't have an insightful comment that will drive the discussion forward, it's better to say nothing. Good listeners don't receive the same formal recognition as good talkers, but they're just as valuable to the team. The next characteristic is being confident. Most people would associate confidence with being bold, effervescent, and commanding. However, we don't need to be an extrovert to have a deep belief in our inherent worth and abilities. People prefer to work with confident, not arrogant, teammates for a number of reasons. When we have a positive self-image, we're less inclined to engage in passive-aggressive behavior and gossip, which primarily serves as a short-term self-esteem boost. Confident people prefer to give compliments that make people feel better rather than slander their colleagues. Also, confident people aren't as emotionally reactive to failure and criticism. While an insecure person may view constructive criticism as a personal attack, a confident person will view the same information as feedback that they can use to make improvements. The next characteristic is the ability to multitask. In the modern era, we rarely have the chance to focus on one project at a time. In most situations, we're required to juggle a handful of tasks while rigidly adhering to deadlines. For this reason, multitasking is one of the most common traits that we need in our jobs. It's no surprise that employees who are able to multitask effectively are always well organized. By sticking to a daily sleep and exercise routine, decluttering our desk regularly, writing down information we can't remember, and creating a task list in the morning for our work days, our ability to multitask will improve exponentially. Naturally, procrastination is the antithesis of multitasking. If we're avoiding tackling tasks when we're supposed to be hard at work, it will negatively affect all of the projects on our calendar. By cutting off distractions such as email and phone notifications while we work, we'll find it easier to overcome procrastination. Also, we may get better results by doing our least favorite task early in the morning and giving ourselves small rewards for tasks completed. By striving for consistency instead of perfectionism, our productivity and ability to multitask will increase. The next characteristic is being detail-oriented. Being detail-oriented doesn't mean that we're incapable of grasping grand visions. It just means that we pay close attention to the small things. For instance, detail-oriented individuals always meticulously proofread their work before submitting it. Paying close attention to details means that we recognize patterns that other people might be oblivious to. When something is out of place, we can depend on detail-oriented people to notice. This is very helpful in terms of problem solving, particularly if a creative solution is required. Detail-oriented employees are great at reading body language and determining people's intentions. Because of this, these individuals are likely to respect others' boundaries and know when it's appropriate to engage someone. Being detail-oriented not only results in a higher quality of work, it also entails better social skills. The next characteristic is being autonomous. Many managers love working with subordinates they can control and dominate. Unfortunately, this is because they care more about feeling important than they care about the objectives of the organization. Micromanaging never produces good results, but it can help certain managers to feel special temporarily. For benevolent managers, micromanaging is silly and unproductive. Good managers want dependable individuals who they can assign a task to and know that it will be completed by the deadline. Sure, every now and then an employee might ask for clarification or help if they've hit a roadblock, but for the most part, a good employee will take the initiative and work autonomously to complete their objectives. The next characteristic is being adaptable. Adaptability is a requirement for workers in this day and age. It comes down to a willingness to learn new information and pick up new skills. Sometimes we might have to grow in ways that may not make sense based on our career goals, but we do that for the greater good of the organization. For those who are calm under pressure and mature enough to prioritize the organization's goals over their own, this makes them invaluable workers. While flexible working practices are highly recommended to get the most out of employees, during urgent situations it is important that the employees reciprocate. It might require working extra hours or grinding especially hard to get a project completed on time. Adaptability also means being flexible to the working habits and personalities of our colleagues. If we are outgoing and talkative, we may need to adapt to our introverted colleagues who require quiet environments in order to work productively. If we're naturally introverted, asking a few friendly questions here and there will help to build rapport with our more outgoing colleagues. And finally, the final characteristic is persistence. As William Churchill once said, success is stumbling from failure to failure with no loss of enthusiasm. When we embrace new challenges and refuse to give up after temporary setbacks, our chances of success increase exponentially. Fortune favors the brave, but only the persistently brave. James Dyson created over 5,000 failed prototypes of a bagless vacuum cleaner before he was eventually successful. But even then, he had enormous challenges bringing the product to market, since this new product presented a threat for the manufacturers of vacuum bags. After overcoming these obstacles, James Dyson's net worth is over $4 billion. Interestingly, he only hires employees who believe that failure is good. By keeping a positive attitude and persevering, even when things aren't going well, it rubs off on our colleagues and creates a wonderfully productive workplace environment. When we're working with a great team, every day can feel like an adventure. With a bad team, it can quickly become a dungeon. Choosing the right team members not only affects the atmosphere of our workplace, but it significantly impacts productivity, which determines the long-term success of the organization for which we work. That ends our training on teamwork. Please remember that a copy of these PowerPoint slides is available in the lesson media section of this lesson. When you are comfortable with the material, you are required to complete the attached quiz with a passing score of at least 70%. Thank you for your time, and good luck with the quiz.